It's day 7. We're on day 7 and is getting real. Fun fact, did you know that the ancient Romans in the 4th century BCE dyed all of their eyeglass and shield materials orange in order to better see the Gauls and the barbarians over the horizon in the War of Clonius III? True story. Facts about history. In this video today, we are going to discuss how the ancient people actually learned a language and if they understood how to do it better than we do here today. What is it exactly that the ancients understood about language learning that we don't get? First and foremost, they didn't and would not have had the amount of distraction and information overload that we have here with us today. No phones, no TikTok, no computers, no TVs, no radio, nothing. If you're thinking that that alone would help you to learn a language better, we're not so sure just yet. Hold on for that, because distractions come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, and just because you don't have your phone doesn't mean that you wouldn't find a way to distract or procrastinate. In order for us to understand exactly what was going on in the past, we spoke to American linguist, academic, and professor Eleanor Dickey, who specializes in the history of the Latin and Greek languages. She's made it her life's mission to understand exactly how the ancients picked up a foreign language.
But yes, they use a lot of rote memory in antiquity. Rote memory is a big thing, not just for language learning, but more general. It's how the education system works. And that's partly because if you think about how their society works, they're not a super literate society. We are the most literate society that has ever existed. So we have enormous amounts of information that exists in writing and exists only in writing. An illiterate person has terrible trouble getting around and just doing basic things in the 21st century. But antiquity is not like that. Indeed, it's writing that kind of has second place.
Would it make sense to draw the inference that their long-term memory or memory for stories was incredibly good then?
Yes.
Okay.
They did a lot of memory training and their memory was much, much better than ours. You know, if you look at how the brain is structured, there are things that are connected to your ears that are not connected to your eyes. And so if you learn a language using both your ears and your eyes, you've got actually more bits of your brain available to help you learn that language. Of course, if you do it only with your ears, then you maybe don't have more bits available than if you did it only with your eyes. But if you do it both ways, you've got more bits available, which gives you a leg up. I think there can't be a question that if you're engaging more bits of your brain, you've got a leg up. But there are people who feel really shy and inhibited about speaking in a foreign language. And active production is really, really helpful for language learning. So if you try to learn it only passively, so that you can maybe read it, you can maybe understand it, but you never are trying to produce it, again, you're missing out on things your brain can do that are helpful. And so when you have students who just can't face opening their mouths in a foreign language, the oral method has some problems. So although basically I'm in favor of an oral method because I think overall it works better.
It's a common misnomer that if your ability to memorize words is high, that you will be able to speak a language with ease. It's not as simple as that. In reality, you're not using language in the same way that you would use it to pull up a list of facts. And so memorizing isn't necessarily the best way to go about it. You need flow. You need this to be internalized and you need to have it immersed into you. This brings us on to our next most important points. We got the chance to speak to Alexander Arguelles. He is a man with a working knowledge of over 50 languages. He has been studying languages his entire life. And of course, this is what he does. And it was an honor to get the chance to speak to him, to pick his brain and understand where and what we're doing right now as a society that's making us fail. So now that you have gotten to the end of a 7-day language challenge, you have a whole host of new skills and new things that you can do. I truly hope that you guys will check out the Pimsleur app. They are great friends of mine, great partners to have in this journey, and I believe to be a great app to get you guys started. Once again, no one is claiming that it will do the work for you. You still have to do it, and you will have to do things outside of Pimsleur. But you want this foundation. I have used it several times and it is actually successful. And avoiding the mistakes and things that we show in this video today will already get you in a way better position than most likely most of us got in school. So above all else, please remember that consistency is key. Repetition is key. Do not get obsessed if you cannot do an entire lesson in a day. Do 5 minutes, do 1 minute. Do not stop. I can guarantee you one of the biggest issues that you've had in your language learning journey, if you have not yet been successful, is because you are not consistent enough. 5 minutes will help. 10 minutes will help. Every little ounce will help. And the fact that these lessons in Pimsleur are already set up means that you've just got to play it on and then just stay active. Please be focused when doing them. Of course, it is not going to hurt you if you are riding your bike, if you're in your car, if you're cooking, if you're doing all those things. The more exposure you have to the language in a controlled way at the beginning, the better off you will be. Check out the link right down below in the description and enjoy the rest of the vid.
I'm also in that old-fashioned prejudice. I just think that those nature method and older methods in general, I just think have more substance. I haven't looked at every app. I haven't kept up with everything. I'm not using them. I can't judge everything. I know that people are working hard at making good things. I'm sure there's some really good ones out there. But just in general, what I've seen is that language instructional material just across the board is getting weaker. It was, just if you just told me, I can't know anything else, but here's a book that was published like 1960, and here's a book published last year, to give you like a real good introduction, firm foundation in the language, which one would I choose? The older one.
Can you explain what the 15-minute a day method is?
If you study systematically, okay, if you get into a habit, if you do the same thing at the same time in the same place every day, it becomes a habit, and then it becomes hard not to do it. And so if you can get into a habit like that, it's amazing how much you can achieve. It's astounding. 15 minutes was basically what I found one of the main best methods I have found for teaching myself languages is published by a French company called OMEGLE. I don't know if you know them. OMEGLE. Yes. If you don't, you should. Yes, OMEGLE. And so they work by bilingual text columns. You have this recording only in the target language, bilingual text columns, little footnotes. The nature of these, each course is different, but by nature they're very short lessons. So you can kind of do and review one of these lessons and also review a past couple of lessons and learn a new lesson at a relatively good rate. And so 15 minutes a day is about what it would take to make, slow but steady progress through a method like this and get it to a year. The people who publish it say you should spend half an hour a day. You could spend an hour in a day and get through it more. But the idea is when you assimilate this book, when you assimilate this material, you'll have a good chunk of the language inside of you. And so I think things like that actually work better at a slower pace. I think languages are living things, just like those plants behind you. They get planted and they need to grow, and that's not something you can always force. It just takes a bit of time. So 15 minutes a day, I think, is a good slow rate to get things going regularly. It's a good slow rate to get into a habit if you don't have a habit of doing something like that. And it's enough to make progress if you're obsessed with languages and you're trying to learn lots of languages at the same time. That's generally enough to work with one language, and that way be able to do lots of languages at the same time.
So suffice it to say, the natural method, something that is no longer truly in vogue, but more used by those studying Latin, is something that you can actually incorporate into your studies, and something that I have done myself over the years unintentionally. Because if you can find good materials that allow you to get into that and past that beginner first stage, where you can make some good progress and move towards your core, you will do much better. And the fact of the matter is that you can do so in just 15 minutes a day, right? We're not saying you shouldn't study more. What we're saying is that at a very minimum, and so many language learners will stop because they don't think they have enough time. But the key is, and we both agreed on this when we had our podcast, which of course we will release later, consistency is what matters. And that's what this entire challenge is about. If you have made it to day 7 and you have done everything, please continue. Final countdown, boy. Let's go. Day 7. What? Okay? Make rehashing and reviewing a habit. If you haven't done that by now, I don't know what you're doing. Go ahead and finally rehash, shift that ChatGPT text. If you haven't, tell it to recreate a new story, keeping the same words, the same context, the same idea, and then now use this as your text for the next few days. All right. By now, you should have a body of work. Maybe you've written some things down. You have the audio and video and text that you were reading at the beginning. Go and look at those, listen to those, watch them, feel the gains that you've made. And now with artificial immersion, feel yourself into that situation once again. You've been doing this now for 5 to 10 minutes, small amount of time every day for the last few days. Words and conversations should start to make more sense to you. You should start to feel a bit more of fluidity. It shouldn't feel new to you. You've been there before, all right? You are practicing for what is going to happen in the future. There is a reason that athletes do this. There's a reason that people that give speeches rehearse all this stuff. There's a reason you guys know that you study and do all this before the test. You're doing the same for language learning. You've never actually been taught to do this and utilize the power of your brain, your mind. That is what artificial immersion truly is. GoLang course is out now, and if it's not, you can join the wait list, my friends. Go check it out. Keep balling. I love each and every one of you guys out there that has finally decided to topple this nonsense that you cannot learn another language. Yes, you can. You're doing it right now. Continue. Stay the course. Keep pushing. Whether you do it with us or anyone else, follow these principles. Go back and look at the lessons. I can guarantee you, if you stick with this to some degree, you will start to get a real foundation. What we didn't and what we can't have, because we can only fit so much in day 7, what day 8 to 15, I can't do math, guys. Is it 8 to 15? Is that next 7 days? I don't know. The point is that we're going to be starting to create that shift into speaking. That's what's going on next. If you want to know more about that, please subscribe. Check out all our stuff. Of course, like we said, the course. We'll see you later, I guess. I don't. You have still probably got that feeling of newness, that desire that you want to go. If you can make this now a habit, if you listen to us on day 1 to make the habits a common routine, habits are what make or break you. Over and over again at the same time, if possible, in the same location, if possible, doing the exact same things, then it's going to be a habit. You've got at least 3 more weeks to go before this thing can really start to get close to being to a daily true habit for you. But if you can achieve this, you'll get to the point where you can push past the beginner stage and start to solidify the language into something that is part of your life. And without that, you won't have success. That's it from us here at Golorami Languages. A big thanks to Pimsleur for sponsoring the start of our challenges. And if you want more, click the links right down below in the description box if you want workbooks, if you want to join some of our groups that are practicing, if you want exclusive content, and of course, if you want a discount and things off on Pimsleur, the link is right down below. Leave us a like, subscribe, and we will see you guys tomorrow with day 8. Psych, are you kidding me? Guys, this is a lot of work. I'm going to sleep. Maybe we'll put out a video, but it's not going to be day 8. I'm going on vacation. See you later.